Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video by yours truly. I wanted to take some time to delve into the Tower of Adversity and what I personally dislike about its structure and why I think it is inherently flawed. Now, keep in mind, this is my personal opinion and my personal experience. I am somebody who did play Genshin Impact for a couple years, and I've also played Wuthering Waves. And I think it is an objective statement to say that Wuthering Waves quite literally took the canvas as well as the painting on the canvas and said, let's just put our signature on it and call it Tower of Adversity. They took their Tower of Adversity and straight up derived it from Spiral Abyss in Genshin Impact, right? I want to tackle the first problem I have personally with this. One, I played Spiral Abyss for 2 years straight in Genshin Impact, so no matter what they did with their Tower of Adversity, that is an exact foundation, and honestly, more than the foundation, it's also the goddamn tree branches too, of Spiral Abyss. There's gonna be a diminishing enjoyment for me, because I've been there, I've seen that show, I bought the ticket, right, numerous times. I can only enjoy it so much because I already did it so much. So there's no innovative quality here with this in-game mode. Here's the real problem I have. I enjoyed Spiral Abyss, and a lot of people who are bitter towards Genshin Impact, they don't want to admit that. Spiral Abyss, admittedly, was one of the craziest fucking cooks I've seen in my entirety of my gaming tenure. I was like, wow, man, they took this combat system with this 3-man approach with the element swap, the ultimate, and they made it beautiful with that Spiral Abyss and made it fun. Why was it fun though? Let's peel back the layers and examine the intricacies of this. Well, first, you're on a time that creates competitiveness and a little bit of stress. Good stress, not bad stress, but the ability to want to get in that time limit to complete. That's cool, I like that. But the element of the Spiral Abyss that was enjoyable as a Genshin Impact player that played in-game was the fact that as soon as you press start, you had full fucking power with your characters. Your ults were already up. You don't have an intro skill or a forte circuit in Genshin Impact. So your ult being up quite literally was you at 100% power. This enabled you to be able to efficiently get through your rotations with whatever teams you were utilizing, regardless of whether the pilot was on the field the majority of the time or you were running quick swap. Full 100% power to start off with. What happened here with Wuthering Waves is they derivatively took this system, put it in their game, and one-to-one'd it. They just changed up, they did a little bit of paint here, a little bit of paint here. Oh, we're gonna do the point system where you can't use the same character once you run out of points. Oh, we're gonna like change the buff to where you can now have 3 teams. Oh, we're gonna like make it to where you have all element increase in the middle, whatever. They changed up a few things, right? But still relatively the same system. Here's my problem. It reminds me of the Artumbo situation where he copied ZMM. And here's the problem. When you copy somebody, you kind of like oust yourself, because if you don't really know the formula and understand it comprehensively, you can make a mistake and then you end up looking goofy, right? This Wuthering Wave situation reminds me of that, because you copied Spiral Abyss, but you didn't realize that your forte circuit and your intro skill makes it to where it actually is counterintuitive to the Spiral Abyss. You don't start off with 100% power in Tower of Adversity. You start off with 70% power. That's why the only damn support in the game that feels good with the mode is the support that's able to start off 100% like almost instantaneously. That's Verena. Gets her forte circuit, her intro, and her fucking ultimate in like 2 seconds. She fits the needs of the Spiral Abyss in order to make that concept work flawlessly. She fits it perfectly. But what about characters who don't have their forte circuit? What about characters who don't have their intro who can't get them up quickly? They are inherently going to fall into the clunky category when you're playing Tower of Adversity and you're pressing start the button. The problem here is you tried to one-to-one a system that is built for no intro and no forte circuit. And so when I come into these battles, if I don't use Verena, it just feels fucking weird. This is the problem with copying somebody else versus saying, what mode can we build that's going to suit the intricacies and the mechanical savviness of our combat? What mode can we build that's going to suit our combat perfectly? Not theirs, our combat perfectly. And I think this is one of my gripes with Tower of Adversity. It fits Genshin Impact's combat mechanisms perfectly. It doesn't fit Wuthering Waves, beautiful, by the way, better combat mechanisms. It doesn't fit its combat mechanisms perfectly. So you guys got lazy in my eyes. I'm like, you could have cooked something better with that perfect dodge, with that parry, with that forte circuit and that intro coming in. You need to transform your Tower of Adversity to better adhere and synergize with those mechanisms. Because right now, as it is, it doesn't feel good pressing the start button and I have to build up my forte circuit and I have to build up my intro skill when we're using Genshin's formula, which is starting off at 100% power. Chat, do you feel like I'm being unreasonable here? Because this is all my own personal experience. Now I actually want to hear what you guys have to say, because that has always been my scrutiny for it. This is facts. The energy is dog shit. I agree with you. I'm looking for a disagreement if there is one. They can yoink a thing or two from Elusive Realm and put it in TOA. Yep, I think I like that idea. It's just you have to be more specific. $7 for the CAD. Thank you again, Size. What has been amazing gameplay wise for sure. The story's another thing for me. I have nonstop spam skip. I don't feel like I'm missing anything, and that's fine. To each his own. You're right. Kind of never bothered me personally. TOA is just a filler in game. Yep. Kudo rest and release when in game mode didn't even exist. Nah, it's true. Complaining about Abyss but no TOA is dumb. Building Concerto feels so bad. Yeah, what parry is worse than ZZZ? Always feel bad to play. Parry is too much of a factor. 100% agree, and how I felt with both games in the Gacha War. Okay, so it seems like most people in the chat are relatively agreeing with me. All I'm trying to say is, I think, and this is not factual, this is opinionated, I think Wuthering Waves fucked up trying to copy the foundation as well as some of the tree limbs of Genshin Impact, because their formula is not a one-to-one with that infrastructure. Genshin Impact's combat isn't as intricate as Wuthering Waves. And so because of that, you got to understand that their business plan was tied to that. Your business plan is not tied to that because you decided to throw in a parry, a fucking perfect dodge, and a forte circuit and an intro. That already transformed your combat to another realm, to the point where the end game now has to suit that. Now on the bright side, your hologram fight suited fucking perfectly. Your hologram fights, that's your cook, and I know it is, because that's the only thing that makes sense with your combat system in your end game. The Elusive Realm kind of just feels like, you know, you get your power. It doesn't make sense with your combat, and it's not supposed to. It's supposed to just feel like I'm so fucking strong, I will shit on anything. And I like that about the Elusive Realm. I genuinely do. But I think you don't really have a true end game to suit the needs of your combat mechanisms, and that's my biggest gripe. Now, how do we fix this? I'm gonna be honest with you, that shit's above my pay grade. My job isn't to tell you how to fix your end game. And if it was, I'd hope I'd be getting paid good for it. It's not. That's up for you guys to figure out. You cooked the shit, I didn't. I'm just gonna tell you, I don't really like how that shit feels. Normally, I believe in providing a solution, but in this case, above my fucking pay grade. I'm not here to think about what you need to do with your game. I'm just here to provide the feedback. What shouldn't have tried to recreate Abyss? I think that something like the Infinite Tower from TOF would have fit better. True, they should just make a hologram in-game low key. TOA for the launch of the game was good to test the full power of your account. Well, no, it wasn't, Dark. Okay, we got to talk about that. TOA for the launch of the game was not good. It's never good. Even the Spiral Abyss isn't good. It's a good wake-up call, right? So I guess that's a bit of a support to what your statement's saying. But the problem with these gacha games intrinsically is that when you go into the Tower of Abyss at the launch of the game, you're not even like proper level. So it gives a false perception that the end game is that challenging. And then what happens? As time progresses, you eventually meet the requirements, and now, oh, this shit ain't hard. I thought it was difficult. They were saying this game was gonna be tough. It's not. So I don't think TOA is actually good for the launch of a game. It's more so good after the first two patches. So once you actually have a team established. Okay, now somebody put something else. I can see your point, but I think building the forte last intro is meant to be quite important. I agree on this. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with that, Valorum. I'm telling you that doesn't make sense with TOA. It doesn't, because TOA is not TOA. It's Spiral Abyss. They just called it TOA. And Spiral Abyss is for Genshin's mechanics. But I agree, it is important to build them up. So that's why you shouldn't even have the TOA. Unless you want to put that in there. But if they put that in there, it's going to make certain characters like, dude, Chang Li, if you start off with Forte Circuit and Intro on a Chang Li team, Chang Li is better than every character in the game, because now the bitch goes Forte is immediately and then builds it up again. So certain characters are going to be offset in terms of balancing, right? If you start Wuthering Waves off at 100% power, some characters are gonna benefit from that so much fucking harder than other characters because they actually revolve around that. And again, that adds to my argument that TOA is not built for Wuthering Waves mechanisms currently. Now they can transform it, but yeah, you know, I don't know. Let me scroll down, see if anybody else said anything else. They should make a swarm in game. Wait, I think you meant swarm. You said swam, but I'm gonna assume you meant swarm. In game mode, just survive endlessly waves of progressively harder enemies, change buffs and landscapes as it goes on getting harder. I'll be honest, I don't feel like horde modes like that translate well into action RPGs. I feel like they translate more. I've said this before. I feel like they translate better in Call of Duty, where you actually can go and pick up like weapons and stuff. The survival, just the whole infrastructure of it makes more sense with shooters and looters than it does with, you know what I mean? Like you're just gonna get kind of like tired of doing that, in my personal opinion. Okay, I think that's it. All right, well, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.